To begin formally our way, I would like to acknowledge Kamutua Fraser Troy, who will lead us in the Mihi and Karakia. Kamutua, the floor is yours now. Kia ora.
Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry. Wiecie, kaj whakahari tō tātou rā, ngam hi nei kia koe mo tō whakatau ia tātou dot tēnei whāwhai kama. No mai hai mai ko te katoa ki tēnei o ngā kaupapa, e whahare nei tō rātou rā. Me tūtū tātou, me wai ata tātou te tahi himene, nā, te ao hape au, tūtū mai. Te ao, yeah. Let us pray. E te kaupanga i tu wāhi ngau. E mihi ana mo te kā o tuku tō orama. Kia katahu ai o mātu whakao I runga I te tū wā te. Kia ua I hoki tātu ki te tika me te pono I runga I tau ingoa tapu. Kia haumi e, kia hui e, tā ki e, kāti. Thanks for no way we're not going to be out of the tapu but getting we know tapu tara next. No mai hai mai ko to ka to ngama. Ma ka nga hai wera o ma whenua o hai no o a te o nei no mai hai mai ko to ki te no nga hu ni no ka to.
Greetings to everyone in the room at this time. We have participated in acknowledgement of Creator and all that Creator represents for all of us. We welcome those who have travelled distances to be here, and for those who are here with us for our purpose for being here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Do you want to translate it?
Is there someone wants to translate that English into a different field?
You fellows like you don't understand the English? Oh, that's great. Not like you, that makes you all quicker. So, no mai hai mai ko to me nga wau ko to e ki ko nei ko to whenua. Pera ia mātou tēnei wā o ati o nonoi. E piko e mga mātou mahu o mātou te kāinga nei. Pera I tō tātou kiku tū hei te ko hingātu ki la wiki. E tangi tō nongo tō tātou au ki tēnā o ngā whata.
We acknowledge the passing of Kingi Tuheitia, and in acknowledging the passing of Kingi Tuheitia, we acknowledge those who are carrying on their shoulders, those who have passed within your families over the last year, the last month, the last week, to the day, and we farewell them collectively. Kia ora.
Tōna haere mai te kaupapa ko kami he nei tēnei la. Tēnei kaupapa ki o noho tahi, kia pōrero tahi, kia wānanga tahi ka pēra. Tātou e tō tāmani o te tēnei runa. E whāna ki te hauera o te tangata, o tō koutou whenua, o tō tātou whenua hoki o Aotearoa. Me te kōrero hoki e whāna ki ngā roa, take o a tātou whenua.
We welcome everyone that is here today for the kaupapa of the day, for the agenda of the day, and that we are here collectively to help each other in understanding the medicinal properties of each country that we share here in Aotearoa.
Mo kono to hi koe haere na kiwe ki wa tātou hui te rā puta mai tō tātou whenua. Tiro haere na ki te ākua tanga o tō rātou mahi no tō rātou hoi te rā. Ko te tūmana ko ki a pai, ki a rani māri te haere o koutou katoa. Tuku nāku te runga rawa e manāku ana koutou I tō te wērahi koe rawa.
For those who are visiting different hospitals and different medical centres in your travels, we ask that you travel safely and that you arrive in peace in your search for ensuring that wellness applies to everything you see and think and do.
Kia ora. Ko kai hune tēnā, me rā whakoto hoi ku tapu I ki a koutou katoa. Nā te mea nohema tātou nui ngā koutou te haere I koto te tātou hui ki nei te rā nei. Nā re hune tēnā, tōni mō huru mō, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai mā tātou.
I'm not going to continue our discussion any further so that we get on to the agenda for our purpose for being here. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Tēnā koutou, kia ora mai mā tātou. Thank you, Leda.
Nami Mote Karakia. Nami Kamutua for grounding us in this beautiful space. Kia ora. Now, before moving ahead, regarding health and safety, I'd like to invite Rosni to briefly pass the information regarding health and safety. Kia ora.
Kia ora tātou katoa, ko Roshni Piriston Aho, co-director for the Center for Asian and Ethnic Minority Health Research. So a fire exit in the event of a fire, just follow the green signs, turn to your right and out the door, right again. It's very easy. Out the door, green exit signs, to your right and right again. The Karapeku, the toilets are on this end, so turn right out of this door and right again. You have the toilets on that side. And yeah, I wish you all the best for the session.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
Now, Rosni. So now, going ahead, it is my pleasure to introduce our first moderator, Hector Matthew, Director of Consumer Engagement and Whanau Voice at Health New Zealand. Hector has extensive experience working with Maori Whanau and communities and brings a wealth of knowledge in ensuring that health systems are centered on the voices of Whanau. Hector, now the section is yours and the floor is yours. Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou, I te rōpū nei, I te whares nei a te media te te rangi matua, te whakawātea nei, tōrua, tōrua o te whae nei, tōrua o te whānau nei. Tēnā koutou everyone, As you see, my name is Nick Matthews, so I'm going to be bouncing up and down, introducing you to the system sometimes, but also consciously, because I'm not sure we so much on the series carefully. You can all read, as well as I do, so you can all read the bio, but I still want to make sure we got the manner with the appropriate manner and dignity for those who seem to speak. So I will briefly
Go ahead. Some people are online, they want to check the plenty here. I deliberately tried to avoid it, and can I see you now, Ramian? Sorry, everyone. The long times, isn't it wonderful? Thank you all for taking the time to come along today. This very important symposium. And I'd like now to briefly introduce our opening speaker for today, Dr. Dale Bramley. He's my boss. He's a senior leader in health and has been so for many years, a public health medicine specialist, and has been on many important nationally critical health groups and health leadership in Aotearoa for a long time. Many of you will probably be familiar with him as the former Chief Executive of Waitemata, or the Chair of the Health Quality Safety Commission. So on that note, I'd like to invite Dr. Dale Bramley to open up, please. Kia ora, Dale. Thank you.
I always get embarrassed when people introduce me as well as sort of back. It's not like going to church or something back. You realize, look, kia ora koutou, ki te roku, ki ngā hoa, vui mai nei tēnā koutou katoa, ki ngā rangatira, Dame Data, Martha Fraser, Emma, Helen, there's lots of you here, and mihi mahana koutou. Great to be here. Just want to acknowledge Ngāti Whātua as well. This is their land, of course, and that hospital across the road, the land that hospital's standing on, gifted by one of the leaders of Ngāti Whātua. So good to remind us of that while we're standing here. Hey, look, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'd like to say the health system is in a very calm state right now, but it is not. It's certainly in a major flux and a period of change. And so I think it's actually symbolic that we have this session here today where we start thinking about other ways of doing things, other ways of collaborating, learning from other health systems in particular. And so I just want to acknowledge and thank the university and the centre here for bringing us together for this korero, for this exchange of ideas, so that we can mutually enrich each other, because that's what this is really about. How can we learn from each other? How can we enrich each other? And there's a lot of similarities between us and the many cultures of Asia. So I just want to start by doing that and warmly welcoming you here. Just to set the scene, there's two focus areas in particular: traditional medicine, Rongoa Māori, which is a great wellspring of knowledge here in Aotearoa, which not that many people know about, unfortunately, unless you're Māori. So it's really good that this is on this agenda. And then secondly, some of the traditional medicines. And I was just talking to the good folks from acupuncture that were here. I did a trip, well, firstly, I just had acupuncture on my knee, and it did more for me than Western medicine has done for a long time. So I just want to acknowledge that. But actually, we did a trip to China just before COVID. And the idea of that trip to China was just to see the modern advances in technology that they were using. And I can tell you, I think I probably went there with an initial bias that what could we learn from that health system, because we're traditionally seen as a very rich health system here and a very Western. Well, I can tell you some of the technology in place there was well beyond anything I've ever seen systematically implemented in New Zealand. They had mobile scanners that were serving populations that we would find very hard to reach here. So there's definitely a great loss. By the way, I've gone completely off piste and I've removed all these slides. But I will return to this slide. Health New Zealand, Te Whatu Ora, is the biggest entity in New Zealand. It has gone through 2 years of change where we went from 20 district health boards now to a single entity. It has a budget which is a very significant part of the New Zealand GDP. Actually, it's $28 billion and we have 90,000 staff. So it has been quite a mammoth undertaking trying to bring this system together, came together under a legislation called Kai Ora, which is also interesting, the name, very much focused on the health and well-being into the future. And that aim is to make quality healthcare accessible to everybody in the country, no matter where they are or who they are. We're going through a second phase of change right now. And so the group that which I'm part of and which Hector's part of and which Grace and Nufeng are all part of is now just got renamed last week. That's how dynamic the whole system is. To be called Planning, Funding and Outcomes, but has brought together the National Commissioning of Health Services for New Zealand, the National Hospital Services for New Zealand, Innovation, Improvement, Data Services for New Zealand. Pretty much most of the national services for the country have now come into this group, and so just got established last week. And a key diamond in the group is this work: international collaborations and Asian and ethnic health services. And so really pleased that this is a significant part of our group, but also it's something that I have had a strong desire for many years to keep growing. Some people might have known of the history of the service in the DHBs before we were Te Whatu Ora, and that was actually from Waitemata DHB, where the first district-wise Asian and ethnic health service was established, and which we have tried to grow ever since. My ambition is to turn that into a full national Asian and ethnic health service for the whole country. And now, hopefully, with these groups coming together, we'll get the means by which to do that. Look, the international collaboration with Asian countries, I just want to say we have some initial immediate priorities as Health New Zealand. One is obviously the digital transformation of our services and how we can advance those fairly quickly. The use of big data analytics, including precision medicine, system integration, exchanges around leadership, talent, and one of the things which really struck me when I was in China, and having tried to build hospitals in New Zealand, it took us, I don't know if people know about Totara Homaru, which is the new hospital at Waitemata. It took us 10 years. Anyway, in a recent trip to China, we saw a research institution next to one of the hospitals there. It was about 10 stories high. From concept to building being utilised was 18 months. So I was just making a comment. We haven't even finished our designs by that stage. So what can we learn in terms of that? And also the experience, of course, of COVID as well, and the ability to rapidly stand up hospitals across Asian countries in very short time and space. Very impressive. Definitely some learnings there for us. And then just on our next slide, really just want to focus on here's some pictures. Actually, that's a trip. There we are in China, and then in Aotearoa, and that's definitely not me dressed up. That was one of the chief nurses, Just Peach. So we have in recent months actually had maybe 3 or 4 delegations through from Asian countries, really trying to foster that exchange between Health New Zealand and our partners overseas. Those are some of the areas we've been focused on, and of course, hoping to expand this health forum as we move into the future. I just want to note it's the 3rd health forum, so may it have many more years and expansion to come. And then just some final comments about Asian and ethnic health. I just wanted to say, well, the first thing is we have tried in Health New Zealand around this Asian 1 level. Well, the need is to disaggregate, right? Because it's all been put into one ethnic group, and of course it is not. And so the richness of the information is in the disaggregation and trying to understand it in a much more narrow and specific relationship to individual ethnic groups, because they have different health needs and different health status. So work's underway, and also in our team, that we can do that and present that information to New Zealand about the different ethnic health outcomes based on the disaggregation of that level 1 ethnicity data. The second one is There has been a lot of discussion over many years that Asian health has the highest health status in the country, and in fact it does. If you live in Waitemata and you're an Asian man or woman, the life expectancy is now 90. There's two things about that. One is the extraordinary advances in life expectancy, that you can get to 90 as the average life expectancy is quite extraordinary. But this healthy migrant effect is now starting to wane. And so we shouldn't rest upon that. And we also have very specific health needs to Asian and migrant populations, which are different to other ethnic groups. So it's really trying to understand those as well. And in our team, we've also been doing a number of reports, and one has also been released nationally that was just recently talked about. And so you'll see the most recent updates on Asian health status. And then the final thing is really what can we, as I say, learn in terms of our whole health system and the needs that we now identify through these various approaches. We now need to have an implementation and action plan for Health New Zealand to address those needs. So that's it from me. I hope you have a wonderful day. It's great to see all the speakers here, and it's really good to be amongst so many friends as well. So kia ora koutou, and thank you everybody. Great to be here.
Kia ora, Dale. Thank you so much. And yeah, there's a lot to unpick in there. We all, I'm sure, know about the recent reports that have been published and produced. So we'll be looking at those over the coming weeks and understanding disaggregating data on ethnicity. So we understand the different health needs of our communities and our populations. So thank you very much, Dale. Our next speaker, Mr. Alistair Crozier, and again, I know you can read the program as well as I can, but I think it's important to note that Alistair is the Executive Director of the New Zealand China Council, and he's been so since 2021. He was the Chief of Staff at the Office of the Christchurch Mayor in 2020 and 21 before that. So I learned something about Alistair today, so that's wonderful to hear. But he's had a storied diplomatic career throughout China, Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, and throughout the New Zealand diplomatic service. So he brings great skill, experience, and knowledge to a forum such as this. And on that note, I'd like to invite Alistair to the stage, please. Kia ora, thank you.
Well, kia ora, Hector, for that very kind introduction. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā rangatira mā, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora, Linda, the rest of it's in English, I promise. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a real honour for the New Zealand China Council, Te Kānihere o Aotearoa me Haina, to participate in this morning's forum. I'd like to thank especially my friend and colleague, Dr. Li Feng Zhou, for the invitation for us to be here. Actually, I'm not a health expert, obviously, but I've got a strong interest in this kaupapa that we're taking forward today because from 2007 to 2009, as Hector said, I was working in Papua New Guinea, and I was blessed to contract both the falciparum and the vivax strains of malaria at the same time. And the doctor said it was probably the same very ambitious mosquito that did that to me. And at that time, and during the many relapses that followed, I was treated with a very effective drug called artemisinin. And I discovered that it was developed by Chinese researchers using a tree bark that is very well known in traditional Chinese medicine. So I've been the very grateful beneficiary of a very successful partnership between Western and Asian medicine myself. But I'm also here in my professional capacity representing our council. For those who don't know us, the New Zealand China Council was established about 12 years ago by our government, and the aim is to bring together the leaders from all the different sectors that have got a positive interest in the New Zealand-China relationship. We would like to see a balanced and resilient relationship between the two countries. We commission research, we contribute to public dialogue and discussion, and we maintain a strong network of people-to-people connections between New Zealand and China that can help to stabilise and strengthen the relationship. Many people think that we are a business council, but we are not. Trade and investment links are a big part of the relationship, but there's many other areas where there are New Zealand-China connections as well, and that includes obviously research and education, demographic links through New Zealand's large ethnic Chinese population, iwi links, the creative sector, language and sports connections. So there's many intersections with your work here today. We're very interested in the opportunity for partnership between China and New Zealand in the area of medical research and wider scientific research. It's a time at the moment of deepening geopolitical tensions and AUKUS and economic challenges between our two countries, but medical collaboration is an excellent example of positive engagement between our two countries. And other issues like that include climate change response and biodiversity protection. So there's a lot of areas of win-win cooperation between us. I did that, or someone did it for me. Thank you. I'll say next slide. In 2023, our council published this research report, Collaborative Horizons. And I'll briefly share some of the key findings and focus areas of the report, because I think they provide some background context for the kōrero you're going to have today. Can I have the next slide, please? First, the scale of New Zealand-China research collaboration grew faster from 2017 to 2022 than with any other of our major international partners. At time of research, China had climbed to rank 4th as an international research partner for New Zealand, behind Australia, the US, and the UK. Next slide, please. And the total number of research paper publications with New Zealand-China co-authorship almost doubled between 2017 and 2022. This increase occurred because China's science and other research capability, as Dale alluded to, is increasingly world-class, internationally integrated, and very well resourced with funding and facilities. Also, in a field like medical research, the scale of China's population and access to very large patient samples can also be an attractive point. Our report also identified some challenges and potential risks when collaborating on research with China, depending on the area of research. But what we pointed out in the paper was that there's risks when engaging with any international partners, and they have to be managed. So New Zealand has risk management frameworks in place for this. But above all, we need to guard against a subjective starting assumption that all research in China in any area must somehow be riskier than with our so-called traditional partners. Our report made clear that there are many projects with China which not only bring no risk to New Zealand, but significant benefit. Next slide, please. So medical research is one of those areas of research. And our report pointed out examples of successful collaboration, such as a New Zealand-China Non-Communicable Diseases Research Collaboration Centre at the University of Otago, which has a focus on traditional Chinese medicine and collaboration on brain research. And groundbreaking work led by the Malaghan Institute and the Maurice Wilkins Centre on biomedicine and cancer treatments, including clinical trials of CAR T-cell therapy in New Zealand, which allowed earlier availability of this treatment for New Zealanders. And of course, as has been said, there was the excellent Asian International Collaboration Program led by Waitemata DHB, now Te Whatu Ora. So one of the focus areas in that program is the lessons that can be applied from commercialization of traditional Chinese medicine to a similar outcome for Rongoā Māori. If it's as successful as my experience with artemisinin in Papua New Guinea, then I think the future in this area of work could be very bright indeed. And I just want to say, if the New Zealand-China Council can assist in any way to help with that kaupapa and take this process forward, please do get in touch. We'd be delighted to support and assist. In the meantime, in terms of New Zealand-China, some of the bilateral government structures underpinning the scientific research collaboration have changed recently. But during Prime Minister Hipkin's visit to China in mid-2023, a new 5-year roadmap for New Zealand-China science and technology cooperation for 2023-27 was agreed, and this confirmed that health and biomedical sciences remains one of the 3 priority areas for cooperation, together with food science and environmental sciences. So next slide, please. This is my propaganda. I'll end my remarks here so the real experts in the room can take things forward, but I'm looking forward to learning and listening a lot today, and wish you all success for a great discussion. Thank you again. Kia ora anō.
Sure, Alistair, and thank you so much for that. It underscores the importance really of cooperation and collaboration, and there are many, many opportunities. Health is a big sector, and that I love that example of traditional Chinese medicine and rongoa Māori. There are lots of opportunities here in Aotearoa to work with colleagues and collaborators in China and indeed all around the world if we're prepared to see them. And we can get over, as you touched on, there's a lot of geopolitics going on, but actually at grassroots level, we just need to focus on what serves our people and our communities well. So thank you very much. Ngā mihi nui kia koe. Our next speaker comes from a different angle once again, Emma Rawson Te Patu. It makes me proud to say she's the president of the World Federation of Public Health Associations and the first Indigenous woman to do that, a wahine Māori at the head. It's a wonderful thing, and the gravity of that is fabulous. So she takes that on, but comes from humble beginnings. Some of that's in Ōtautahi and Christchurch, where I come from. But from a whakapapa perspective, she has Ngāi Te Rangi and Ngāti Ranginui roots and Tauranga Moana and Tainui roots through Ngāti Raukawa and Ngāti Haua. And then amongst that, she does her own consultancy and working tirelessly for many, many years in public health and health broadly speaking. So on that note, no mai haramai te tuhinga, welcome, Emma. Kia ora.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa, tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou I te rānei. Te mihi tuatahi ki ngā mana whenua, a ko Ngāti Whātua, tēnā koutou. He mihi anō nei ki ngā kaimātua mō te whakatau, me te karakia I te ata nei, tēnā koutou. Ko Waio, ko Ngāti Ranginui, Ngāi Te Rangi, Raukawa me Ngāti Haua, ko Emma Waimarie Rawson Te Patu tōku ingoa. So thank you very much, Hector, for the lovely introduction and the acknowledgement of my roots in public health really are from those days in the Ōtautahi where I grew up, and worked with a number of people in the room today. And yes, I come to you today as the president of the World Federation of Public Health Associations, the first Indigenous woman, and it is a significant opportunity at a number of levels. Having said that, I want to also particularly acknowledge Li Feng Zhou and Ramel Adkari, who are board members, or Li Feng has been a long-serving board member of the Public Health Association of New Zealand, and Ramel still sits on our board, and want to thank them very much for their ongoing support of me in this position. It's a bit hard to pick out which things I'm going to say today and which things I'm not. I did have a slide. Yes, good. I don't know if this gives you a bit of a hint about where I'm going or not, but hopefully it brings a bit of humour as well to the conversation, which, in some regards, there's a lot of, as has been highlighted by Dale and others, a lot of challenges to our health system and our public health system today. And I've just had a brief look at some of the points from the Asian Health in Aotearoa report. And actually it makes me even more convinced that what I am going to share today is going to be of value and of use. So just a quick brief on the World Federation of Public Health Associations, because I don't expect people to really know who we are. So we're a civil society based out of Geneva. We're a membership organisation. We have over 110 national associations as members of us. That means an equivalent of around 5 million individual public health practitioners are members of the Federation. So about the size of New Zealand. There's a little bit of a running joke that I'm the descendant of public health. But anyhow, so that's who we are, that's our makeup, and we have a direct relationship with the WHO, and then our executive director sits on the board of the WHO, and we can give direct recommendations to the WHO on what they need to do in terms of public health approaches. What I'm most proud of in my time with the Federation is, and I also like to acknowledge Mr. Adrian Tapatu, who's also in the room with us today. Adrian was the first Indigenous person on the Governing Council of the Federation. He actually served 2 terms, something very unusual, and is the founding chair of the Indigenous Working Group of the Federation. And that's really important, and you'll hear about that as I go through the rest of my short time. So we have a significant position in terms of how we can influence public health globally. We are the only civil society of our nature, an association membership that has that level of influence in the WHO. So what we have done, and I say we, and I include Adrian in this, since we established our Indigenous Working Group, we knew that this had historically been a very Western, a very European-driven association that needed to understand and lean into its responsibilities and obligations to other cultures, other ethnicities, and for us in particular regard to Indigenous knowledge as ways of doing and being. So we made it our mission that we would get ourselves to a place where we would be the strategic advisory group as a working group to the Federation. Not only have we achieved that, we've managed to achieve having a president who is the president of the Federation who is Indigenous. And knowing that we needed to be in this space and we needed to encourage different types of partnership, different types of openings to different types of knowledges, we have very bravely leaned into the term decolonising global public health. And I know that's a challenge for a lot of people, in particular right now in New Zealand, it's probably even more challenging than it has been in the last 10 years. What I would say to that is it's a term to help people understand that they need to see the world through different lenses and understand those lenses so that people have different access to choice. Currently, a lot of the reasons why the inequities exist, and those inequities that are growing in the Asian health communities that is highlighted in that report, are from lack of choice to services that suit people where they're at and where they're from. So the Federation very bravely in 2023 adopted a new goal of contributing to systems change and decolonising public health. Probably one of the first times an organisation of its kind has adopted a goal with those particular words in it. That means we have an opportunity to influence that global community that I mentioned before, 5 million members, to lean into, understand and be educated, educate themselves, but be educated by us about how to lean into what it means to decolonise public health. And again, when I say decolonise public health, it means how do we see things through the different lenses of the different people that we need to serve that suffer the greater burden of illness and disease. It's not an easy task, but what I can say is I'm really encouraged by, and it was really nice to hear Dale mention before about the importance of international collaborations, is that in the public health community globally, people are significantly leaning into what that means and actually getting comfortable with that term, decolonising global health, and wanting to know what that looks like and wanting to put things into action and actually to collaborate in a different way. And I remember being on a hui a few years ago, and I think the term was, it was just after COVID, and people had realised that they needed to, and when I say people, sort of more Western-minded people had realised that they needed to collaborate differently and better, and we recognised it was a hinge moment in time for change to occur. And for me, I've seen people leaning into understanding that collaboration takes time, and it means spending time on relationship. And so that's also what we're talking to people about and working with people on, is how do you actually prioritise relationship so that you can prioritise the efforts that need to happen based on the most important needs of the people who need the work the most. So I'm very, very proud of the work that we're doing. We are leading out a program of work which is about, one, defining what decolonising public health looks like for the Federation and its members, and then providing tools and resources whereby our membership associations can access those tools and resources and then begin to understand which ones they need to develop on their own. And again, this is all about opening up spaces so that different views can be understood and then implemented in terms of the different types of preventative measures that we use and also healing measures that we use, so they aren't just Western biomedical measures. We have, we're really pleased to have one of our members of our Indigenous Working Group working on the recent World Intellectual Property Organisation Treaty on traditional, on intellectual property and associated traditional knowledges. That has never been achieved before. It took 23 years to achieve this treaty that recognises the importance of traditional knowledges and in particular Indigenous knowledge and the protection of those knowledges. We're also very pleased to have a number of significant opportunities to drive and lead decolonising work and participation at a number of levels. So again, not sure how much time I've got left, but again, for me, the really important part of today is partnership, systems and choice. And I think the biggest thing for me, again, is to leave with a message that systems are made up of people. If people can't make the right choices to ensure that the right interventions and the right resources are available to the people that need them in the way that they need them, then we're failing. We can call things out to the system as much as we like, but the systems are made of people. So go out and be good humans, basically. Kia ora, that's me. Thank you.
Tēnā no koe te tuahine. Thank you very much, Emma. Yeah, it's a powerful objective, isn't it? Decolonising global public health. And I'm conscious when we think about that, how things are changing and how they've changed so rapidly, which is my segue into our next speaker, Whaia Naida, Rangimārie Naida Glavish, or Dame Te Kahurangi Naida Glavish. One of my heroes as a kid, and if you just bear with me for a second, as a teenager in West Auckland back in the 80s, you had to kind of keep your head down. And there was this little place in Oratia called Wami Waititi, but there wasn't much going. That's where all the Māori used to hang out from time to time. Anyway, long story short, Dame Naida back in the 80s made it okay to be Māori and say kia ora. And that's a real punctuation mark in this country's history, because in less than a decade after her basically challenging the government and government institutions about the use of te reo Māori, I became father. My children went to Kohanga, and now all four of my grandchildren are, well, 2 out of the 4 are in Kurakopa Māori, fluent speakers of te reo Māori, have opportunities in speaking te reo Māori that I never had. And many people will put that down to the actions of this woman, Whaia Naida. Her name and her legacy are etched large in the health sector. She's the chief advisor Māori at both Waitemata and Auckland, but I can tell you, everyone in Aotearoa and Te Whatu Ora, if they want to know something, they'll come to Whaia Naida to ask her about it. She's helped me many times in my career, in my life, and I'm so happy to have had a chance to catch up with her today. And I don't want to steal any of her thunder. Ngā mihi nui ki a koe e te whaia, nau mai haramu.
Kia ora. Ko kaipara te moana, ko hoti o te awa, maunga atu a te maunga. Ngāti hine te hapu ko Ngāti Whātua te iwi. And on the other side of me, my grandfather comes from a place in Croatia called Kotsica, and my grandmother comes from a place in Croatia called Derivanik. And so Croatian father, Māori hard mother, and raised by 2 grandmothers. And the thing about wanting to mention the 2 grandmothers is rongoa. I was raised by 2 grandmothers. They lived on opposite sides of the road of each other, and neither could speak English. One spoke fluent Croatian, the other one spoke fluent Māori, and I bounced between the 2 of them. And to me, it was a wealthy upbringing with these 2 grandmothers, because it was 2 generations ahead of myself. And that 2 generations ahead of myself, being raised in there, is a different, absolutely. I had to go to school to learn to speak English, and I've never mastered it at all. And in terms of rongoa, I grew up on the shores of the Kaipara Harbour, and these 2 grandmothers actually lived according to being aligned to the environment. Everything about them was aligned to climate and to the environment, and they understood absolutely the pull of the tides, as well as the moon cycle, as it required some intelligence with regards to planting, when is the appropriate time to plant. We had a little box up in the tree, and that was our fridge. And we had amazing things that we survived by. And some of those things, of course, rongo, and we hear rongoa, but rongoa is the medicinal application of the God of healing. His name was Rongo. And always it's acknowledged back to Rongo. And in terms of rongo, we understood the bird life. The seabirds would come in, we knew a storm was brewing. The flowers that would bloom in the forest, in the bush, we'd know a particular flower that was blooming in the bush gave us a right to go into the sea. For instance, when the kowhai is in bloom, then we know that anything in the sea that has a yellow roe is available for harvest. And so the kina was fat when the kowhai was in bloom. Don't tell anybody outside this room, please. We also know that when the pohutukawa is in bloom, that the crayfish was ready under the sea. So the messengers between the sea and land were amazing, absolutely amazing. And in terms of rongoa, medicinal use, there's a particular tree that we call the titi, which is a cabbage tree. And one of my cousins hurt himself severely and was bleeding. There is a particular karakia, and rongoa will not exist without karakia. The ability to know appropriate words to use for appropriate purposes, i.e. a particular karakia for the bleeding. So that was applied to my cousin. Then I was made to shimmy up a titi tree, a cabbage tree, to pull the leaves down, and then with the leaves extract the juice from it and apply the juice of a titi tree to the cut. And in the meantime, when that was done and properly wrapped up, he was taken to the doctor. And by the time he got to the doctor, the healing had already begun stitching together. And so there was no need for stitches. So there is that knowledge still around with regards to rongoa Māori. And as well as that rongoa, I want to share, and I know the room is full of doctors. I don't know how many are obstetricians or pediatricians, but another issue that rose, of course, was the question I want to ask, and anybody who's online, at what stage in a 9-month pregnancy does soul enter? And that's a genuine question, because we know
no baby will be born alive without soul. It's given some medical term, I'm not sure what it is, miscarriage or something. Anyway, the reason why I'm asking this is those grandmothers again, is in actual fact, there are 3 potentials in a 9-month pregnancy for soul to enter. The first potential is in actual fact at conception. The second potential is when the baby is 4 to 5 months. And the third is in the birth canal. And so our elders are outside the marae watching our children running around, climbing trees, falling off. And they are saying to each other, see, na, ki te koe, I told you. And what they were doing was assessing at what stage soul entered those particular children because of their behavior. And the story goes that if soul entered at conception, old soul, at 4 to 5 months, old soul with some lessons to learn, and in the birth canal, tutu to the max, just come to play. Usually, the baby in the whānau has come to play. But that was how children were looked after by those old people in those days, understanding the child based on the behavior. And I say that because in living within your environment, the prophet of the north, his name was Aperehama Taonui. And I will say it in reo, and then I will translate. He tani whā kei te haere mai, he tani whā tai kuhu tai huna. Tore rawa koutou e kite a kua tai mai, kia kite a rānau i ngā kanuhi a wō mokopuna. Ina tai ki te la kaua e patu i wō mokopuna. Engari hipoki ngā te tō mokopuna ki te kahu aroha a te whānau. There is a demon on its way, and this was said in 1883. There is a demon on its way. It is a demon that will arrive stealthily. The demon will arrive deviously. You will not see it coming. You will not know it's here until you see it in the eyes of your mokopuna. And when you do not punish your mokopuna, but cloak your mokopuna in the cloak of love of the whānau. That from 1883 applies more today than it did then. And that's talking about the dread of methamphetamine that is in our communities today. It was said then, and the cloak of aroha, the whānau of yesteryear, the whānau of 1883, is a different whānau of the whānau of today. 1883 was not colonized as it is today. And we need to apply and understand I guess it's another prophecy by Albert Einstein. I claim Albert Einstein comes from the Kaipara Harbour area, who said, no problem will ever be solved in the same consciousness that created it. And we have a responsibility to seek the point of origin of any problem, whether it be medical or otherwise. And so, coming from that background, I was introduced to Ayurvedic meditation. And I have been a practicing member of Ayurvedic meditation since the 70s. And I passed that knowledge on also to my own children. And we are
whānau of practicing Ayurvedic meditation. I am privileged enough to be the chair of the New Zealand College of Chinese Medicine. Kia ora, Linda. And with that, of course, acupuncture, I agree 100% with Dale. It does more for me than swallowing a pill could ever do. And I would encourage the use of acupuncture. I'd encourage the use of meditation and Ayurvedic. So with that, I want to say thank you for this privilege of coming to share. And I hope I haven't offended anybody. And if I have, tell me later. Kia ora koutou, tēnā koutou, kia ora.
Kuna no koe te whaia. I come out the wehi as always. You leave us all thinking, and I love the way you connected up lots of the dots there. It's, there's a lot to unpack here. I am conscious of time. We've got a keynote speaker coming up soon. And so if there are one or two burning questions of any of the speakers, I'm happy to give people an opportunity, but just to try and stitch some of that together. You know, Dale talked about our changing population and the diversity that exists in our Asian communities and as a consequence in our communities here in Aotearoa. And Alistair talked about the richness that can occur in the opportunities of cooperation, and something like the co-header of the Council of New Zealand China can help facilitate a lot of that. And we need to think about, both from a health perspective but a community perspective, how we can find those collaborations, because it will serve our communities well. And then Emma touching on how we can decolonise a lot of that, because there's lots of great stuff in obviously Western scientific model. Even Vionata touched on that, but there are also hidden and sometimes lost knowledge inside those ancient traditions, such as meditation, such as acupuncture, such as rongoa, and they're everywhere around us. It's interesting what Vionata said about the kōwhai, because the kōwhai are blooming large in Christchurch at the moment. Everything's lit up. So if you want to turn up, head to the beach. I noticed they're not flowering so much here in Auckland. I just, there must be something going on. I don't know. But you know, there's a whole lot of knowledge inside of it, and what Emma talked about decolonising that. We've got to find out what that knowledge is and try and unravel it for our communities, so that we can use the best of both and enable our tamariki, our children and our mokopuna to live better lives. So on that note, we've probably got time for perhaps one or two questions of any of our speakers. So I am conscious we do have a keynote speaker, so I'm just trying to urge you to think. Is there a burning question in the room before we go to our next keynote speaker? Okay, well, kei te pai tēnā. Can I just say then, thank you so much to all those speakers. It's a really short time, I know that, and we're rattling through. It's kind of like a machine gun rattling on. So grateful, Dale, Alistair, Emma, Vionata, to hear you all speak today. It's a bit like weaving a mat. I think there's a tapestry that we're all going to weave together over the next hours and the next couple of days to bring together the diversity of our Asian and ethnic minority populations here in Aotearoa, connecting that to Indigenous knowledge, connecting that to Western health systems and research and collaboration, so that we can all serve our communities a lot better in the future. I think while Helen's standing up, are you going to introduce Helen? So I'll hand over to Helen. Kia ora, pai. Ngami.
Wow, what a wonderful speakers here. And Ngami Nui for the leadership factor. Moving forward, I'd like to introduce our next moderator, Dr. Helen Uingi, General Manager of Maori Health Research at SINI Health New Zealand. Dr. Helen has dedicated her career to improving health outcomes for Maori through research and policy. Helen, now the floor is yours. I'll leave it to you. Kia ora.
A tēnā tātou koe hui mai rungi te kaupapa kotahi. E te kākarakia tēnā koe e tūhono nā rangituta tēnua. E mihi ana ki te iwi kāinga ko Ngāti Whātua me ona hapu. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Dawn Namahinui ki a koe anō e rangatira. Whai ki te ki a koe. Among his many roles, he is the Dean and Chair of the Institute of Integrative Medicine at the Shanghai Medical College and the Chair of the Department of Integrative Medicine at Hushan Hospital at Fudan University. I was fortunate to, I've met Professor Dawn several times now. He's been to New Zealand to talk to us about how we might integrate Rongoa Māori into Western medicine in the hospital settings, and he is hopeful that we will be able to establish a Rongoa Māori Institute. There's been some research done at Waitemata District Health Board by Dr. Koya, looking at how Western medicine might be run alongside Rongoa Māori. And there was the findings from that was that there was some general agreement that it would be quite a good idea, but there were several tensions. One of those is that the Rongoa Māori practitioners weren't too keen on sharing their knowledge, and the medical practitioners were a bit nervous about opening their arms to Rongoa Māori practitioners inside the hospital. So I hope that we will be able to explore a similar process that you talk about today, Professor Dawn. Nau mai, hara mai.
First, all I can say, Maori words is kawa kawa, because most of Maori people consider kawa kawa is a very great herb, traditional herb, which the herb can treat a lot of diseases. Maori people consider, yeah. This third times I visit New Zealand. First, maybe the 20 years ago, I traveled in New Zealand, and gave me a very good impression because the New Zealand, the landscape, every view. Second times, just to show the picture, is the second times. This is my third times. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. I'm Professor Dong Jingchen from Fudan University. I also am director of Fudan Institutes of Integrative Medicine. To be very honest, today this meeting gave me a very great pleasure and honored to present a scientific report here and in New Zealand. A very lovely and beautiful place. Of course, first I would like to give my warm thanks to Li Feng and his group. They gave me a chance to talk with you about the traditional medicine. Okay. My topic today was want to tell something about the scientific basis of traditional medicine, of course, especially traditional Chinese medicine. And why he? Okay. So I say then we'll next one. Based on our understanding of concepts such as science and technology, and considering the overall structural characteristics of traditional Chinese medicine, we would introduce innovative concepts like a great traditional Chinese medicine, a three-part method, 5 essential elements, 2 levels, and 3 integrations. Next. According to my opinion, in China, we not only have the Chinese traditional medicine or Han medicine, we also have Mongolian traditional medicine, Tibetan traditional medicine, Hui traditional medicine, Yoga traditional medicine, and so on. So in this time, now I organize all the traditional medicines in China, become a great traditional Chinese medicine. This means the medicine, not only the Han medicine or Chinese traditional medicine. Now this a new idea recognized by the government. Next. Yeah. And we consider the traditional medicine in China not only Chinese or Han medicine, is including all the traditional medicine in China, organize a large traditional medicine. Now is recognized by the Chinese government, and we establish a new law about the traditional Chinese medicine, which they consider not only the Han medicine, it's all the traditional medicine organized the Chinese traditional medicine. We also suggest a new idea, which we called tripartite division. That means in relation to modern medicine and the traditional medicine, the basic framework of traditional medicine can be divided into 3 parts. The first part that unconsciously leads modern medicine, because traditional medicine often have 1 or 2 or several thousand years history and a lot of experiences, and not from the animal to the clinic work, just from experience to experience. So the traditional medicine can unconsciously advance than the modern medicine in some respect. The second part is that has reached consensus with modern medicine. For example, we see the artemisinin extracted from the Artemisia annua. Now we consider the artemisinin can be used to treat malaria. Also recognized by all the world. The Nobel Prize also give a Chinese professor Tu Youyou. Now, so we consider maybe the artemisinin can shed the same language with modern medicine. Of course, there's the examples like this. There are a lot in traditional Chinese medicine. The third part is that needs to be re-evaluated and abandoned or discarded. Because if when you say 2,000 years ago, the people say which herb can treat what diseases, but the no scientific knowledge, no modern substances, no RCT results. So some Chinese traditional herb even with even positive to the people health. So just I show you this is the partial division according to my new idea and the new thoughts. Next. Oh, okay. I also consider all the traditional medicine, including Mauryan traditional medicine, Han medicine, Chinese traditional medicine, can be disclosed or can be divided into 5 important key factors. First is clinical experiences. You see, a lot of older doctors or experienced doctors they often have a lot of clinical experience. And second is ancient philosophy. Ancient philosophy is a very important piece for traditional medicine. For example, Han medicine or Chinese traditional medicine, he based on the Chinese ancient philosophy. For example, yin, yang, 5 elements, and so on. Because in the ancient time, no modern anatomical knowledge, no pharmacological knowledge. So and so on. So it's very difficult to try to establish a medical system. How we can, 2,000 years ago, the people, how they can establish or create a medical system? They just have to use the ancient philosophy. The third factors is primitive knowledge of medicine. The ancient traditional medicine, if you investigate it deeply, you can see, this knowledge is anatomy knowledge. This pharmacology knowledge. This is maybe the molecular medicine knowledge, and so on. Maybe the fourth factors is regional culture. For example, the Mauryan culture will influence the Mauryan traditional medicine. Chinese culture will influence the Chinese traditional medicine. Tibetan culture will influence the Tibetan traditional medicine, and so on. Mongolia traditional culture will influence Mongolia traditional medicine. The final elements which we consider is very important for traditional Chinese, all the traditional medicine, is the religious belief. We consider religious belief also very important in traditional medicine. For example, you once visited the Tibetan medicine. You can see Tibetan traditional medicine college is often located in the Tibetan religious temple. And because in ancient time, maybe the people say maybe religious or belief or placebo or white, all very effective against the diseases. So they consider belief is very important. This my new idea about the traditional medicine, there are the 5 elements or key factors how to organize traditional medicine or how we can recognize a traditional medicine. Next. Next. Okay. In future, I consider now. In future, I consider have a tendency, which we say 3 tendencies or 3 traditional medicine develop directions. First is all the Chinese traditional medicines organize become a large traditional medicine. Also, maybe in New Zealand, all the Maori traditional medicine, England traditional medicine, Scotland traditional medicine, all the traditional medicine can be organized become a New Zealand traditional medicine. The second is all of the world, all the traditional medicine should be organized. I want to suggest to the WHO, we consider now you see in WHO sometimes they consider traditional medicine is a integrative medicine. Sometimes they consider now we make them that we're thinking clear. Now we often consider the traditional medicine should be divided into 2. One is modern medicine. Second is traditional medicine. Traditional medicine is an ancient phenomenon of modern medicine. That's mean so not the in future. No, what country traditional medicine, what minority medicine. In future, just 2. One is modern medicine, one is traditional medicine. Third is my group is devoted into 2. We call it how to integrate the traditional medicine and the modern medicine. Or we say we use the modern scientific knowledge, uses modern scientific techniques to research the essence of the traditional medicine. Try to discover the scientific core from the traditional medicine, then help the development of modern medicine. That's in future. Next, maybe you should give me more 5 minutes because you waste my no, just a joke. I also divided into 2 respects. One, the clinical experiences, primate scientific knowledge we consider is belong to the culture, belong to the technique aspect. The cultural, ancient philosophy, and believing, maybe we consider this cultural aspect. So, if you want to exploit your ancient medical knowledge, if this knowledge belongs to the technique aspect, it's very easy to exploit from New Zealand to China to Middle East to other countries. If the scientific traditional medicine belongs to the culture, I consider it's very difficult to spread to influence each other. Yeah. Thank you. Next. This is my book written. Of course, I now translate into English. Maybe several months after I can give you everyone a book about exploring my think and feelings. Next. Okay, now I just tell you something about the scientific basis of traditional Chinese medicine. I also consider maybe this is a more traditional medicine, the scientific basis in future. Next. First is the scientific basis of traditional Chinese medicine. The scientific basis of Chinese herbal medicine, single whole and single compound level, even the single micro molecule level. So I'll go on. This woman, you know, she discovered the artemisinin from the artemisia, which can be used against malaria. Artemisinin. So these Chinese older ladies won the Nobel Prize. Yeah. Next. This is the molecular structure of the artemisinin. This artemisinin now recognize all of the world. Next. But because the time is only half hour give me, so it's impossible. I tell you very deeply about traditional medicine, medical scientific basis. This is also very famous in this herb, also very famous in China. We call amphloger. Amphloger, a lot of Chinese ancient formula organized around this herb. Amphloger. So it's very famous in 2,000 years ago. Even now in China, this herb is very famous. This herb in China and also including the formula with this herb often can be used to treat cough, asthmatic attack, pneumonia, and short of breath, and so on. Next. Now, maybe 50 years ago, we discovered the effective molecule. The name is the ephedrine. I have shown you the molecular structure on the PPT. The ephedrine is a bronchodilator. This molecule can touch on the beta receptor. Beta receptor that we also call the beta agonist. So when you treat this herb, or even in injection with the small molecule, the beta receptor agonist, so spasm bronchus will open, so the cough and the short of breath will improve dramatically. So this is the scientific basis of the ephedrine. Why people use this herb to treat cough and short breath for more than 3,000 years? This is due to the beta receptor agonist. Next. This also very famous Chinese herb. We call the scopolamine. This herb also be used in China in ancient times to treat short of breath, to treat cough, to treat a lot of sputum, and so on. Next. now we discovered small. I extracted a a molecule from this herb. This herb also a bronchodilator because he can this molecule can the effect is just like the atropine. Atropine, maybe you know, it is more potent than atropine in causing the pupil dilation and inhibiting granular secretion. It stimulates the respiratory center, but has a significant inhibitory effect and cerebral cortex additionally. And so now this herb also very popular in China, being used to treat the respiratory diseases. Next. This licorice or galantamine are now also isolated, small, very popular use in China. We are even the 本草纲目 2,000 years ago is popular use in China. Next. We isolated or extracted a small a micro molecule from this herb. You can the mechanism action or modulating NACHIs and inhibiting acetylcholinesterase underlying its therapeutic effects. This mechanism is thought to alleviate some symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Next. Oh, this is also very important herb. His name is Chinese vivid bean. In this herb, in this bean, in his body, the bean body, contain a lot of boba, you know. The boba can be used to treat Parkinson's disease. Boba is the most important Parkinson's disease in modern times. But 2,000 years ago, the people used this bean to treat symptoms like Parkinson. But they don't know in the bean body, inside the bean body contain a lot of boba. They don't know. The machine is not very good, so it's often You see levodopa. Levodopa is we can use levodopa to produce dopa to treat Parkinson. But the Chinese velvet bean contains a lot of levodopa. So so now the Chinese velvet bean is very, very, very famous. Okay, next. This herb also very popular and often used in traditional Chinese medicine. This herb contains necrochlorine, which is very strong to treat heart insufficiency. In ancient time, the Chinese medical books
describe if the patient short of breath and palpitation and the edema of the legs, they will, and the feel cold. The Chinese ancient doctor will consider this patient may be suffering from yang insufficiency, yin and yang. This yang insufficiency, and the more accurate, more is heart yang insufficiency, heart yang insufficiency, and this herb is improve heart yang insufficiency. Now, modern medicine elucidated this herb contain isolated or extracted the necrochloride, which is a very strong to treat heart insufficiency, just like the digoxin. Digoxin, you know, very famous, also in New Zealand. Next. This you can digitalis leaf. Human being isolated digoxin from the digitalis leaf, which the digoxin is very, very popular and very, all of the hospitals all over the world, especially to treat heart insufficiency. Next. Next, because times also this is also very, very, very famous. That before the artemisinin discovered, all the world doctors to treat malaria with this drug, quinine. Quinine also isolated or extracted from the herb. The herb is cinchona tree, and this discovering process, just like the artemisinin, is the same. Next. This is a quinine molecule. Yeah. Next. Oh, this herb also was very, very famous in traditional Chinese medicine. They consider the taste is bitter in taste and cold in nature. It enters the liver and the spleen meridians. The effect is dissolve the lumps and reduce swelling, and block channels and alleviate pain. And this ancient consideration. But now, next. Now people isolated, extracted a small molecule we call the strychnine. Strychnine is can primary cause and can excited the spinal cord, enhancing the reflex functions. So some athletes want to take part in the Olympic Games. They want to improve their result, improve their activity. They sometimes ask doctors which drug can be used to improve my score or my activity. So some Chinese doctor, maybe you can use this herb because modern medicine cannot determine in your blood but now modern medicine can determine the molecules in your blood, just strychnines. Okay, next. This herb also very famous in China. We also isolated next
isolated. You see just like atropine. The atropine you see is a derivative scopolamine are all we consider essential medicine in clinical practice, and he can block the acetylcholine receptor. You see, in modern medicine theory, if you want to treat the respiratory diseases symptoms, for example, cough and then more sputum and so on. Modern medicine level now is just 3 drugs. One is beta receptor agonist. Second is acetylcholine receptor blocks. Third is corticosteroid. But 2,000 years ago, people use it, but they not use a molecule. They just use a hose. But they don't know the hose contain the bronchodilator or acetylcholine blocker. No, they know. They just realize this hose very effective when use this herb to treat cough and more sputum and so on. Yeah. Next. This is now also very popular in use in China. Next, because the time is limited so quickly. Next. This herb very, very popular in use in China, especially used to treat the diarrhea, especially due to the materials, bacteria infected by the bacteria and so on. Next. Now we isolated a small molecule we call the berberine, which is just like antibiotics. Okay, next. This also like the berberine isolated. Next. Next. This herb also very famous in China. Now we also extracted a lot of molecules from this herb, which can suppress immunoreaction, and so can treat a lot of immuno disorders, diseases. Next. This just also just like the decoxing. Okay, next. This herb very popular in China. Now we isolated next. Now you can see the molecule which can be used just like to suppress immunoreaction. Next. This herb very popular in China. Now scientists extracted the molecules. Now is used all over the world as a chemotherapy drug against a lot of cancer diseases. Next. Oh, this also from a famous Chinese herb is a Hongdousan. The people extracted next the molecules paclitaxel. Taxol now is very, very popular all over the world. You can be used as a chemotherapy main drug. Can be used anti a lot of cancers, digestive cancers, lung cancers, women cancers. Also, even the New Zealand use the Taxol. Next. This is very interesting because maybe the second Nobel Prize in future in China will because the you know the P-song is a chance maybe the next the arsenic trioxide this often used in ancient China to treat a lot of diseases. Now, the modern medical society discovered this molecule, which can you know, the leukemia. Inside the leukemia cell, two signal pathway. One signal pathway is enhance leukemia cell become a good cell. Another signal pathway is try to keep the leukemia cell as a bad cell, but this molecule can block the signal pathway, then make the leukemia cell become a good cell. Now, this molecule have saved about 2 million leukemia patients all over the world. So they consider in future maybe a Nobel Prize. This molecule also have got the LASK prize. LASK prize. The scientific society considered is a very, very important prize. Maybe just a step, or you touch the Nobel Prize. Next. Oh, this is very interesting. Also, a very interesting beam is a goat beam. Goat beam also have the French name, French lilac, or Spanish name, clover. Of course, discover this molecule not Chinese people. Is maybe a French or England doctors. These doctors find us phenomenon. Why the ox eat more? They want to eat this herb. Why? But sometimes one day the doctor find the one ox eat too much. Then the cox go to another place to find this herb. Then eat a lot of these herbs. Then the ox这个昏迷一下子记住了 common here. Then the cox common. The doctor then why the cox common? Then he examined the cox. Then find maybe the cox. He considered the cox is suffering from blood hypo sugar in his blood. Then find why this herb can cause the blood, the sugar level in blood drop dramatically. Then find the molecule metformin. Now all of the world uses this molecule to treat DM 2 type, especially type 2 DM. Okay. This also we Chinese herbs. We discovered the molecule warfarin. Warfarin is very, very popular all over the world now to move the blood. Next. This is a warfarin. Next. Now,
this herb very popular in ancient China, especially in Yugo medicine. Yugo medicine. Now in Yugo medicine, very popular Chinese herb. Now we discover a molecule next. Is colchicine. Colchicine can be to treat the colchicine can be treat the diseases, especially the uric acid level too high in blood. Next. The next. Maybe the time is also I just next. I just choice, make choice. Okay. Next. Next. Second, the scientific basis of traditional Chinese medicine. The scientific basis of Chinese herbal medicine level effect parts. Next. A lot of. I thought next time we have more time, we can discuss more deeply. Okay, next. The basic, the scientific, the level of formula and medicinal ingredients. Next. This drug are now very popular, used in China against the suppression, depression, and psychological problems. You know now the psychological disease is very popular, more and more popular all over the world. So the Chinese drug just contain two herbs. Two herbs. One is I just show you. Next. One is this herb, hypericin. This herb, even in German, ancient German, ancient German doctors use this herb to treat suppression, to treat psychological problems, because this molecule extracted from this herb can increase the it can improve the neuron. You see we have a good spirit due to we have a very good neuron relation between two neurons, which the same passes. So the information is we can the neurotransmitters. For example, histamine, norepinephrine, and so on. But the molecule extracted from this herb can increase the neurotransmitters between two neurons. Then your psychological problem can be improved, can be cured. Okay, next. Next. This may be second Nobel Prize for Chinese people. Just use this herb to treat the malaria. Okay, next. Next. Because you just gave me half hour, so I will very quickly in 2 minutes. The scientific basis of TCM syndromes. Next. This is my teacher. He is a missionary in China. He researched the traditional Chinese medicine syndromes for 60 years. They consider yang insufficiency, insufficiency, all have the scientific basis. Next. The scientific basis of TCM, treatment principles and the methods. Next. This is also research in weight transfer to improve the microcirculation and so on. Next. This is my group work. I also consider in future I can win the Nobel Prize because I consider I have the very strong scientific knowledge to achieve. Next. Then next. Then also my research work because time. Okay. Chinese people also and Mongol people they consider sky and environment and nature keep the very intimate relation with body with a human being. Next. The Chinese in ancient Chinese book there are a lot of many books they describe the intimate relation, the human body and the nature, and they also consider in the body. The morning is they consider there are o'clock in the body, but modern Western scientists research this phenomenon, then they win the Nobel Prize. Next. Now, this three men win the 2017 medicine prize for they discover biological o'clock in the body, which control the rhythm, 24 hours rhythm. Now, next. Only 2 minutes. Next. They discovered the biological o'clock due to they discovered the gene. The gene control everybody the o'clock. Next. My institute's work now published on the Neuro is a very, very famous medical journal all over the world. We discovered the neutral basis of acupuncture, regulation of symptomic information. And next. This also my group work published on the Nature Research, maybe the top scientific journals all over the world. They discover the labeled somatosensory neurons mediate the vagal anti-inflammatory reflex pathway induced by acupuncture. Next. Thank you, everyone.
We'll do just telling over with no time for Q&A.
Thank you, Professor Dong. We've invited Professor Dong here 4 times, and each time he's come, we've promised him we will sit there and let him have the 2 hours he needs to present his full range of slides. And I'm apologising to you once again to say you've been squashed into 30 minutes. But are there any questions from anybody? And thank you, Professor Dong, once again for coming. Look forward to catching up later.
Okay.
Will you say present?
Dr. Helen, Sesame Professor Tong, and we proceed for technical error. Thank you, Sesha. So we are a little bit behind the time, is that per our schedule. So now let me go to the another stage. Let me introduce Dr. Maggie Ma, Program Manager of Asian Health and International Collaboration, Health New Zealand. Dr. Ma has extensive experience in international collaboration and health innovation for ethnic population. Maggie, the stage is yours. Thank you. Kia ora.
So don't include from there. Partnership between traditional and modern medicine can create a holistic healthcare approach, building the strengths of those approach for better service for our patients and whānau. Such partnership are becoming more prevalent globally as healthcare system recognize the value of complementary practice. The following three presentations will be shared by the teams of experts on their collaborative working experience on the partnership. First, I will introduce Tracy Lindsay. She is the board member of Acupuncture New Zealand, who has been an acupuncturist for the last 18 years, working both in UK and in New Zealand. He is practicing in Wellington now. Please. Can I click with this?
So having more.
So it'll forward the. Oh, okay. I'll give it a go. Ngā mihi, Maggie, thank you. Tēnā koutou katoa. I'd like to say thank you to Professor Dong for your overview of Chinese medicine and the scientific and molecular basis for the action of many of the herbs used within traditional Chinese medicine and the neural basis for acupuncture. I'm certainly going to look those two articles up and have a good read. Ngā mihi to Dame Blavish and Dr. Bramley. I think you may have made it easier leading for me with your endorsement of acupuncture already this morning. I'd also like to thank Dr. Zhou for inviting Acupuncture New Zealand to share in this korero today on partnerships between traditional and Western medicine. So Chinese medicine encompasses a broad spectrum of practice, including exercise via Qigong, dietary knowledge and food energetics. Chinese herbal medicine, as we were hearing about from Professor Dong, and Tuina massage, which is a type of body root. And of course, acupuncture, which is perhaps the most widely known and utilised treatment modality in New Zealand of Chinese medicine. We also have very different styles of acupuncture practice within New Zealand as well, including Japanese and Korean style. I'll just try to click. Oh, there we go. I did read. No, can't go back. Can we go back? Roll. Oh, got it now. Right, thank you. 47 years, Acupuncture New Zealand has been the leading professional body representing acupuncturists and Chinese medicine practitioners. Acupuncture was a self-regulated profession up to very recently. In September 2021, Chinese medicine became a regulated health profession under the Health Practitioners Competency Assurance Act, with the Chinese Medicine Council being appointed as the responsible authority in May 2022. There is now over 1,180 registered Chinese medicine practitioners working across Aotearoa, New Zealand. Approximately 30% of these practitioners have a second Western medicine or allied health qualification, in addition to their Chinese medicine qualification. And I'm one of them, with my original training as a registered nurse, and there are many other registered nurses and midwives and doctors working within acupuncture. Our practitioners are from a diverse ethnic background, and notably Acupuncture New Zealand has a membership of over 70% who identify as Asian. So different work environments. Currently, the bulk of acupuncturists work in private practice and in multidisciplinary clinics. We also have practitioners working in collaboration with GPs and medical practices. Up until earlier this year, there was a long-standing acupuncture maternity outpatient clinic at the Hutt Valley Hospital.
And acupuncturists have also delivered treatments in fertility clinics throughout New Zealand. We've also had a formal acupuncture project being run in a prison setting as well. There are a number of community acupuncture clinics throughout New Zealand, based in a variety of community settings, including on marae, often alongside Rongoa Māori treatment providers. Acupuncturists and Chinese medicine practitioners, Acupuncturists and Chinese medicine practitioners participate in health research, both within their own postgraduate academic pursuits and also as treatment providers within research projects. Currently, there is a veterans project being run out of Otago University, which is exploring the effectiveness of acupuncture in conjunction with action and commitment therapy delivered by the research acupuncturist on reducing chronic pain and distress for veterans. There is another arm of this study looking at delivering Rongoa Māori to veterans. Acupuncturists have also responded to the needs of the communities in times of natural disasters. And traumatic events affecting the community, such as the Christchurch earthquakes, where free drop-in clinics were stood up to deliver trauma relief acupuncture treatments to help patients with both the physical and emotional effects of these events. After the March 2019 terrorist attack against the Christchurch mosques, acupuncturists in Christchurch once again responded, forming the Acupuncture Response Network and providing free treatments to those members of their community which had been so traumatically affected and were suffering both physically and mentally from post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, insomnia, and depression alongside their physical symptoms. More recently, after Cyclone Gabriel, acupuncturists responded, coming together with other health professionals and community clinics and continuing to offer low-cost treatments to help patients. Oops, sorry. Okay. Acupuncturists work with a diverse patient population who are seeking help for a variety of health conditions. The underlying holistic framework of Chinese medicine provides a basis of pattern discrimination and treatment strategies that can be applied to a broad base of conditions in a broad range of contexts. Treatments are often able to address the associated symptoms in addition to the presenting or main complaint. This can be particularly helpful in the case of chronic conditions and complex presentations. We have seen this more recently in our treatment of long COVID patients, which often has multiple symptomology presenting at once. Acupuncture New Zealand acupuncturists have been recognised as ACC treatment providers since 1990 and treat a variety of musculoskeletal conditions. And we have some practitioners who are also working with ACC sensitive claims as well. Acupuncturists are often the first contact with a health professional for their patients, and we work in an integrated way in order to ensure timely and appropriate referrals to other health professionals are made as required. In a large part, health consumers self-refer for treatment, but practitioners also receive referrals from GPs and fellow allied health practitioners. So, where are the opportunities for collaboration between traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and Western medicine? And how can we move towards an integrated approach? We believe that there are many areas where acupuncture and Chinese medicine could be further utilised to improve health outcomes for all New Zealanders. Here are some areas we believe are of key interest. Peripheral neuropathy. There are now dozens of studies on acupuncture and electroacupuncture which have found that these are effective not only in alleviating peripheral neuropathy pain, but also in improving numbness and paresthesia. In addition, there are now acupuncture peripheral neuropathy studies which also found improvements in objective nerve conduction studies, in addition to the subjective symptom improvements. So we've seen some of this research has been directed towards peripheral neuropathy in diabetic patients of both type 1 and 2. So in 2023, approximately over 323,000 people in New Zealand were estimated as having diabetes. And currently around 50% of patients with diabetes will develop peripheral neuropathy in their lifetime. So we can see that this is a growing problem, and it's not always one that's easily rectified with medications, and there are side effects to medications. In June 2024, a large systematic review and meta-analysis on acupuncture for the treatment of diabetic peripheral neuropathy in the elderly concluded that acupuncture treatment is significantly better than regular treatment and can effectively alleviate the symptoms of diabetic peripheral neuropathy patients, reduce their blood glucose levels, and improve their nerve conduction velocities. They did note, however, that there was a certain degree of reliability to their meta-analysis, but that more large sample, high quality and low bias studies were needed to further prove it. Although a majority of the peripheral neuropathy studies on acupuncture and electroacupuncture to date have been limited by small sample sizes and suboptimal reporting, there appears to be sufficient evidence that acupuncture and electroacupuncture can safely improve numbness and improve numbness and paresthesia as well as pain, measured by both symptomatic improvements and nerve conduction studies. So we believe there's an opportunity here for integration within outpatient diabetic clinics. And we're actually going to skip to this third one there. So outpatient oncology clinics. And again, there has been a number of studies looking at peripheral neuropathy for oncology patients. There's a growing evidence base regarding acupuncture treatment in this area. And right now, there's a further current large research project going on in New York at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, which is evaluating the effectiveness of acupuncture on improving pain and other related symptoms among cancer survivors with chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. This randomized phase 3 clinical trial follows an earlier pilot study which demonstrated the feasibility and preliminary efficacy of acupuncture in relieving chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy pain. So we look forward to seeing the results of that study. So then we're going to go back to outpatient pain clinics and chronic pain. So acupuncture has been shown to be effective for chronic pain, in particular chronic musculoskeletal pain and migraine. The National Institute of Healthcare Excellence in the UK recommends up to 5 hours of community-based acupuncture as a treatment option for chronic primary pain. They also recommend a course of acupuncture for prophylaxis of migraine and tension-type headaches. So there's an opportunity here as well within outpatient pain clinics to incorporate acupuncture within their suite of treatments. And then we've got oncology, including, even though we've put outpatients there, it could also be inpatient care. Improving quality of life for oncology patients and cancer survivors by reducing fatigue, cancer-related pain, nausea and vomiting, and hormone-induced side effects in the case of breast cancer. There are many studies with acupuncture in that area. And finally, improving the mental health and well-being of New Zealanders. So this is the raft of research. A lot of this is on the peripheral neuropathy. And on it goes. I was actually quite surprised, to be honest, when I looked into this. There's a lot and there's more coming out. So just going to go back to this one. So what are the barriers to integration of Chinese medicine? Currently, there are structural barriers that will need to be addressed for integration to take place. Currently, these barriers mean Chinese medicine practitioners predominantly only work in private community-based healthcare practice. This positioning of the profession limits the provision of services and access to funding and contracts, and ultimately reduces access to treatment for many people. Integrated practice would benefit both the health system financially and in the system's ability to better meet health targets. And it would benefit health service users by addressing health needs more effectively and providing access to services that increase treatment choice and are culturally responsive. For this to take place, key settings regarding participation, employment and contracts need to be examined and adjusted to allow broader participation for Chinese medicine within the wider healthcare system. Narratives regarding there being a lack of evidence need to be examined in light of the quantity and quality of available evidence. There is a level of pragmatism that needs to take place to demonstrate the added value that integration achieves. There is a competent regulated workforce with a diverse range of skills suited for many different contexts, and we look forward to further discussions and opportunities for integration of Chinese medicine into the wider New Zealand healthcare system in order for the health system to better meet the increasing demand for healthcare. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tracy. Next, I will introduce Dr. Linda. Dr. Linda Zhang is the president of the New Zealand Chinese Medicine and Acupuncture Society and the chair of the Allied Chinese Medicine Arterial New Zealand. She's now working as a research lead of New Zealand College of Chinese Medicine. The college team collaborated and supported by Dan and Linda. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, my name is Linda. I'm from the New Zealand College of Chinese Medicine, and it's a great pleasure to be here to present our exploratory study comparing Tuina in traditional Chinese medicine with Mary and Romi in Ranga Mori. So according to the World Health Organization definition, both Ranga Mori and the traditional Chinese medicine actually belongs to traditional medicine, and both of them have their own cultural heritage and has already been practiced for centuries. And both of the traditional Chinese medicine and the Ranga Mori are used as complementary medicine in New Zealand currently. Traditional Chinese medicine actually include different treatment modalities, such as herbal medicine, acupuncture, Tuina, moxa, cupping, guasha, qigong, and dietary therapy. And they treat disease and maintain health by achieving an active body balance and the harmony with the natural environment. And Ranga Mori, as a traditional Mori healing system, include plant use, massage, and incantations. It treats illness in a holistic manner with spiritual healing, the power of Karakia, the mana of the Kahunga, and the use of the herbs. Actually, nowadays, the use of traditional medicine and the demand for the traditional medicine is increasing globally, and the patients are now seeking for greater ownership of their health and well-being, and they are also seeking for more compassionate and personalized health care. So providing the patient from different ethnic groups with more options and more access to different traditional medicine are in urgent need. So this left a question left to the healthcare provider is how we appropriately integrate traditional medicine into our mainstream of healthcare. So the same question applies to both traditional Chinese medicine and Ranga Mori. So integration of different medical systems first requires an understanding of these medical systems. So through understanding, we might find appropriate ways to integrate, to incorporate, and to collaborate. So this is also the rationale for our study. We try to establish a basic understanding of traditional Chinese medicine and Rongwa Mori. So as an initial step, we chose to focus on one treatment modality used for both traditional medicine system, massage, and Tuina in traditional Chinese medicine, and Miri Romi in Rongwa Mori. So we investigated the similarities and the difference in their philosophy and the theoretical basis, and also we compared their diagnostic and treatment method. So the investigation furthered our understanding of these two traditional medicine modalities, how they work and how they integrate or incorporate knowledge and practice from conventional medicine into their current practice. So we used a qualitative methodology combined with Kaupapa Mori research approach. So we invited 3 Rongwa Mori practitioners and 3 TCM practitioners who has more than 20 years experience for interviews. So most of the questions used in our interview are open-ended questions. So the recorded data collected from the interview were transcribed, coded, and thematized for comparison and contrast. So the following I will present the result from our study, and the result are organized under themes. So the first question we asked for the practitioners actually where they get their trainings. So for the Rongwa Mori practitioner, they stated they usually was chosen and trained from their childhood, mostly by their senior family members, but they all follow Tohonga to study in later stage. And for Tuina practitioners, they stated they usually receive funding from TCM universities. They trained 5 years towards a bachelor degree and another 3 years for master degree and 2 years for a PhD qualification. So when we asked what's the views they hold towards health, both Rongwa Mori practitioner and the TCM practitioner, actually they hold the similar, holistic views towards health. They think health is not only about physical health. Actually, it's also about emotional, mental, and spiritual health and well-being. So they emphasize we need to keep a dynamic balance of our body, and also in the same time, we have to maintain a harmony with our natural environment, even our social environment. So regarding to the theoretical principles used by these two modalities, and Rongwa Mori practitioner, they hold a Kaupapa Mori values, which include Aroha, Manaki Tonga, and Mori Ora. And the Tuina practitioners has used different theories to guide their diagnosis and treatment. They use yin-yang theory, 5-element theory, qi blood, incense theory, Zangfu theory, and body constitution theory, and etiology theory, meridian theory for diagnosis and treatment. For Tuina practitioner, it's very important to use the meridian theory. Rongwa Mori practitioner and Tuina practitioner, actually, they use their unique method for diagnosis. And Rongwa Mori practitioner, they usually use consultation, TO, Wario, and body reading for diagnosis. And Tuina practitioner use observation, listening and smell, inquiry, and palpitation for diagnosis. And when they were asked whether they refer to conventional test results to help them diagnose, and Rangamori practitioners, they stated usually they do not refer to conventional test result. But for trainer practitioner, they usually use conventional test results such as MRI and CT scans, and also use conventional examination method to help them diagnose. So both Rangamori practitioner and a trainer practitioner, use some unique basic manipulation method for treatment. So for Rangamori practitioner, they usually use Miri to work on spiritual level and on the Vaira side, and use Romi to do some physical manipulation of the body by providing pressure with elbows, hands, knees, feet, roca, stones, and other tools. Trainer actually include 25 basic manipulation techniques, and these basic techniques can be combined to compound form to treat patients with different health conditions. And also there is one specific technique, called infantile trainer, is used for children under age 6 and infants. So trainer works on acupoints along the meridians to remove the blockage, stimulate qi flow, and promote healing. Rangamori practitioner and trainer practitioner, actually, they use different procedure for their treatment. Rangamori practitioner, when they perform their treatment, they usually start from Karakia and with 50-50 corridor, that means consultation and or conversation, deep conversation. And they read the body and work on all levels of the patient, including physically and mentally and spiritually, and to expel negative energy and blockage from the patient body. And they usually finish with corridor. And the trainer practitioner, actually, they make their treatment plan based on diagnosis. The treatment usually include local manipulation and also distant manipulation along the meridians. Usually at the end of each session, the trainer practitioner will provide post-treatment advice regarding lifestyle and diet to the patient. For Rangamori and also for trainer, actually, the contraindications are quite similar regarding the physical manipulation. They all need to check whether the patients, have recent injuries, such as fracture, and also to have to check their skin conditions, and also to need to check whether they are pregnant or not. And I think for all the medical system, when we do treatment, we always need to ensure the clients understands everything that happens in the session. I think that's the same for all the medical system. So the last question left is for the common health condition they have seen in their practice. So from their statement, we can see the health condition presented in their clinic are quite diverse. It not only include skeletal muscular problems, and they also see lots of the problem, for example, internal problems, and also mental disorders, and also gynecologic problems. So for Rangamori practitioner, they see a higher percentage of Mori clients. For trainer practitioner in their clinic, actually they see a high percentage of Asian clients. So to summarize the similarity and the difference between the Rangamori practitioner, Rangamori, and also the Tuina, actually both Rangamori and Tuina hold a holistic view of health, and also they use some sort of manual manipulation to treatment. They all focus on some sort of the energy flow in the body and also, connected to the environment. And also they emphasize personalize the treatment as well. The difference between Rangamori or Mori massage and Tuina actually comes from their different cultural origins and their different theoretical principles used for their diagnosis and treatment, and also their different diagnostic and treatment approach, and also their unique manipulation techniques. And also for TCM or Tuina practitioners, they seems to have already integrated conventional medicine knowledge into their current modern practice. But for Rangamori practitioners, they practice in their original form. So our study actually is still exploratory, and our understanding of the traditional Chinese medicine and Rangamori actually need to be further broadened and deepened to better support their integration into our mainstream of healthcare system. And the most important is to provide our patient more options to take care of their own health and well-being. So the last but not the least, we acknowledge our research team members, Dame Naida Glavish from the Watimati Health New Zealand, and also Dr. Li Feng from the New Zealand College of Chinese Medicine, and who is an experienced TCM practitioner, and also Mariama, who is also a Maori healer. And we also thanks for Dr. Zhou and Dr. Ma for your support to our project. And last, we acknowledge that we received a seeding grant from the Matimata Health New Zealand. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, Linda. Next, I would like to invite the team of Brian, Trudy, to come to the stage. Professor Brian McKenna is the Associate Clinical Director for Improvement, Auckland Regional Forensic Psychiatric Services, the Mason Clinic. His research interest has focused on research co-design with key stakeholders in the service concerned. Judy is the Regional Forensic Clinical Nurse Director, and Terry Kopapa Maori Clinical Lead. Together in the team, there are David Jones, who is a Ranga practitioner, and together with Maori culture experts, T. Mamaroy Kobe, and Barry Pena Gestra. Right, thank you.
Ai, te sia te tae ngā kāramana ka maha o te motu o te rā, o te ao, katoa. Nei rā te mihi kia koutou, ngā manuhiri tuarangi ko tamai wanganui a tātou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Tika ngā mihi tuatahi kia koe taku rangatira, Mr. Fraser, mo te rangi pāmiro kia i te rangi ki te whenua, o te rā whenua ki te rangi, tātou te rongo i te wairua pai e ngunguru, ana ki roto i tō tātou runga i tēnei atano reira, ka mihi kataka ki a koe o te rā ki tō tātou whā neira, o kōrua tahi e whakakanohi ana i te mana whenua, no reira ka mihi kataka ki te mana whenua o tēnei rohe. Ki ngā kai whakahaere o tēnei huihuinga, miharo tēnei huhinga ki au ki te nā ki te whiwhi ki te tama ki te whakarongo ki ngā kōrero hōhunu ko whakawhare ki hea ki mo i a tātou. Nā reira ka mihi ki ngā kai whakahaere o tēnei huhinga. O tī rā, ki ngā kaituku pūtea me ki tō tātou mahi rangahau. Nei kore ko koutou ka kore tēnei rangahau e tiki o nā reira ka mihi tātua ki a koutou. Ia ki ngā Māori me whānau ki ana he aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata. Me he mea whakapuna na tātou ki awa kōrero rā, me tika me whakatotahi ai tātou ngā ahurea katoa o te ao, hei whakapakari i ngā hua me ki o te tangata. No reira mā tō raurau, mā tōpū raurau kaura i te ui, koera te nako o tēnei momo hui, ka ki te mātou ngā raurau mai tērā ui, mai tērā whenua, ko tai mai ka toha i ngā whakaaro mai i tō tātou raurau hoki, hei oranga mo te tangata no reira, ka mihi ki te kaipua. Greetings whānau, we're from the Mason Clinic, as Maggie said, and I just wanted to say on behalf of our team here that it's been a blessing actually to come along, and I'm still relatively new to this arena, but thanks for sharing all the kōrero that's been shared. It's been wonderful to hear, and I just wanted to especially thank our funders, our providers, Lee Fing and Maggie. Thank you for that, and without further ado, I'll hand it over to the rest of our team. Tēnā koutou.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Turi tuku ingoa, ko Taumi te Maunga, ko Poro ni te Marae, ko Ngāpuhi te Iwi, ko Ngā te Hene te Hapu. So I'm going to get into it because I'm mindful of our time. So we are from Meihana, Mason Clinic. We are a regional forensic service, and we cater for 126 tangata whaitua in our services. It's ironic we've got this up because we have 9 units named after our ngāhere. We have Kauri, Rata, Totara, Kahikatea, Rimu, Puetekawa, and also Etu Tanikaha and Te Aka and Tanaka. What do we get from here? Okay. So we do cover a wide range across the North Island. We are from Auckland, from Northland to Bombay. So we have 5 prisons, and we also have multiple courts scattered around the place. So we have a large cohort, probably about 3,000 people within our care, and it's very big. And as we're aware, our statistics show that 51.9% are Māori. Within our service at the moment, we have a big cohort, and we are attempting to provide that equity, but it's very hard when you've got a structure that doesn't allow change to happen. So we have to make the change because we are the voice of our people. It means working differently to address the unique needs and taking into account what our people need and what our people are asking for. It's an opportunity for us to make change for them. And that's my role. So I'm not only the clinical lead, I'm also the forensic clinical nurse director, so I have the ability to make change for our kaimahi. Our identity reflects the rich tapestry of common collective experiences. And of course, we are governed by Tiratia Waitangi around there. I'm mindful of my time, and I don't know, I'm mindful we have to catch up. We, our people are there because of the influences historically that have been bestowed upon us, and also the disadvantages they've had in the community. We have a prison up north in Ngāwha that are still a part of that structure, and that is why they put it up there, to be closer to their people in Ngāwha. We have a blueprint that was developed in 1988, and that gave us the mandate to do what we do currently in Meihana. The blueprint was led by Judge Ken Mason, and there were 3 influential reports. So it allowed us to care for Māori by Māori, and in order to do that, it gave us the opportunity to implement 2 marae. 2 units, and one of them is Tari Kaupapa. This is our stream. So Tari Kaupapa is a stream that has 2 units. We have Taupaka Piripiri, which is our rehabilitation, and we have Te Aka, which is our medium secure. This is where we do provide the care that we need to for our people. It allows us to deliver a Māori worldview, Te Ao Māori, which encompasses rangatiratanga, manaakitanga, whanaungatanga, wairuatanga, kaitiakitanga, kotahitanga, and mātauranga. Clinical and cultural partnership, we are governed by our MOU, which is Ngāti Whātua and Waitemata, DHB. And it's how we encompass those. We are, as health professionals, not only accountable to Waitemata and Ngāti Whātua, but we're also accountable to our people that we care for. That is the only reason we are there. So we have to stand up and we have to be the voice of our people. Kia ora, I will hand it over.
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is David Jones. I'm a senior lecturer in the School of Nursing at Manukau Institute of Technology. I'm also a traditional mind medicine practitioner with Te Waka o Matariki. It's an organisation which actually delivers the bulk of all ACC sensitive claims relating to Tonga Māori in New Zealand. I was formerly a lecturer at the Faculty of Health and Environmental Sciences at AUT, Auckland University of Technology, where I was brought on board with the whānau here to help out as a research assistant in the organisation looking at improving the health outcomes for our whānau or for our family and friends who tangata whaiora or clients in the Mason Forensic Mental Health Service. And central to this particular piece of research is the privileging of our mātauranga Māori, of our traditional knowledge, and how that might be implemented in order to improve those health outcomes for whānau. So tēnā koutou katoa. So once again, with this particular project was bringing together of many whānau and also practitioners. Although this project has been going for the last 1.5 years, it actually goes back to at least 20 to 30 years before, with many contributors, many professionals, health professionals, as well as traditional medicine practitioners from that time, right up until today. And so we strive to continue carrying that work from that particular time. So once again, acknowledgement for the research grant from Te Whatu Ora Waitemata, and it enabled us to bring together, once again, more practitioners, clinicians, also Māori liaison staff, and also participants from previous from previous research projects who had been brought together earlier to talk about the same sort of thing, the possibility of implementing traditional Māori medicine as part of the therapeutic service at the Mason Clinic. So we had a day-long hui. There were many people of cultural, clinical, lived experience, and also there were practitioners. And there was around about under 30 people in all who had participated at that particular hui. There were, I think, Professor Dong talked about the 5 principles of his research, and in the same way, this piece of research actually came up with 5 elements as well. And one of those elements is manaakitanga, or care. So the service, the particular project here would be tangata whai te ora centred, or a client centred, would be whānau centred, and also inclusive as well, as there were participants from other ethnic groups on the day who are coming in as well. One of those other elements was around whakaruruhau, or the ability to take better care and protect our whānau, as well as all of those participating in the project as well, or participating in the service, those legislative policy requirements and guidelines, but also ensuring that it sits within kaua and tikanga Māori, and an overall protective health, safety, and cultural safety of all those involved as well. Whanaungatanga, once again, was another one of those principles or the working relationships that we would need with expert rongoa providers and also community groups. Seem to be talking too much here. Also, one of the other principles was mana whakahaere, or the development of a governance group of clinicians, staff, and rongoa experts. Okay, go. And then also that fifth principle, or the fifth kaupapa there, was also rangaho, the need to have a plan of research to grow, develop, and share that mātauranga. So once again, on the day we had many practitioners come in. They were interviewed, in whānau interviews, those interviews were recorded, thematic analysis was done, and these were the particular things that came out of the conversations and interviews of that day, these 5 principles.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā Pākehā, haere maki ana mō tui te rātanga haurero mei hana no reira tēnā koutou. Where the pilot project is at its now is we did all the mahi, we did the work, and now we're pushing it through the system. So we've got a clinical governance system in the service. They've endorsed it. They want a policy. So we've got one of our experts working away on a policy. The clinical director wanted an evaluation plan, so that's pretty easy to construct. And what we will have is the running out the pilot using Reo Māori in our kaupapa Māori service by the end of the year. So we're away. So why do we do all of this work? Why do we do all of this money? It's all about translating that research into the best practice we possibly can do for those people that we serve. And how do we do it? Well, we're funded a half of an academic position. We get students in to do some of this work, and we've got the passion of staff. But those staff are also burdened by their ordinary roles as well. So this is something that they often do additional to very busy lives. And that's all the resource we've basically got. And do we have success here? We do have a degree of success. Since 2017, we've had about 30 academic publications come out of the service, about 6 chapters. Some of those publications do look at this interface between culture and clinical. And this is an example of an evaluation we did of Tāne Whakapiripiri, which ended up in the International Journal of Forensic Mental Health Services. So why do we push all this stuff out? Basically, if we look at equity and inequity, it's just not our problem here in New Zealand. It exists everywhere. And if we look at forensic mental health services, Indigenous people and ethnic minorities are overrepresented in these sorts of services. And when you get the stuff out there, you start to get response. So this year we've had a call from some colleagues in Canada. They got some funding opportunity to come down. They sent an academic down here to work with primarily Māori staff over a 6-month period to do a realist evaluation of our Tari Kaupapa Māori services. That's very close to being published. And the outcome of that is now that we've got in November 20 Indigenous leads and academics from Manitoba, Quebec and British Columbia coming down to firm up our relationship and look at possibly how we can work in partnership into the future. So we've got another challenge. That's one challenge, how we keep this momentum going. The other challenge is our growth. The region that we serve will be 3 million people in less than 20 years' time. And we've already got new builds occurring within our service, but all those new builds are doing is replacing the old buildings. And yet we know that by 2023, we'll need to actually have the capacity to house double the amount of people that we do in our services at the moment. So what do we need? We need something different. We need an entity, infrastructure, call it what you like, which somehow brings a buzz and enthusiasm which enables us to focus on innovation and service improvement for the benefit of those people served. So in terms of that buzz, it's research, it's quality improvement, it's staff development, And it's about looking after students because we have about 300 students coming through the service in any 1 year. So what our plan now is to look at getting some money, getting some resource together, which we hope to do by the end of the year, and then co-designing this entity with our key stakeholders, which are clinicians, cultural experts, lived experience people, and their whānau. And the idea is to have that designed maybe by halfway through next year, and then have an entity in existence by the beginning of 2026. And we've already secured a building for that entity to be housed in, because some of our services are leaving buildings to look at moving into a new building next year. So who are we doing that with? If we went to Te Whatuora, unfortunately, we would get the response on no money. So on that basis, we're looking at other partnerships. We're going to AUT, and we hope to secure some resourcing through them. But if there's any of you in the audience that have access to Pūtea, I'm in this direction. And there's my email address if you want to have a talk about what we're doing, because at the end of the day, talk's cheap. So thank you very much.
And I think just on that note, it's so important to understand that we have the privilege of having a future development in the back of Kaupapa Māori Set, which is part of Ngāti Whātua's vision. And that is why we need to start putting things in place now to make that a reality for our people, because we should be working with each other. Kia ora koutou. Kia ora.
Kia ora mai te whare. Tēnei e tūnei no ngā puhi muitanu, te hokianga, tira taku whenua ukaupō, me ngā tikau. Ko hau tēnei ko te mamairoa Cowie. It's an honour to be here with these wonderful people that we've all worked hard towards improving the quality of the service delivery, particularly rārai te kaupapa o te tari kaupapa Māori. Tikanga kawa centric delivery of services. So how blessed we are that we are in the environment that we all know of forensic as being hugely under the glasses of everybody, laws, judges, doctors, psychiatrists, and so forth. How wonderful we have this miracle that is taking place of rongoa. And we have been blessed to have psychiatrists who have already piloted and approved mental, emotional stabilizers of tātara moa within our service for patients. So those things have been piloted and we continue to do the mahi. So I just like to look Michael a little bit for us here from Mason Clinic.
Kia ora. Cecily Maggie, thank you so much for this section. Now we come to our panel discussion. So the panel discussion, the way forward for integration of medicine. So I want four for our volunteers, 4 chairs here with the help of our volunteers. And we have only 2 chairs, 2 more please. And I like to invite, I know you guys are hungry, so I don't want to waste time. And just before going that, you might be thinking, who is this guy? Just introduced his name. So I'm Ko Everest Monga, Ko Seti Te Oa, Ko Ramil Toku Unga, no Paneke Ahu. I was grown up in Nepal, the country of Mount Everest, and I lived in Wellington Poneke. So as I previously mentioned, I'm working as a Principal Advisor Oporai for Hawara Maori Tumatanui for National Public Health Service. And now today we starting our here panel discussion, and we have Dr. Helen Wihingi, expertise in Maori health research. Wihongi. Kia ora. Professor Ching Chong Tong, Tracy Lindsay, and Dame Nida Gladys. Kia ora. Thank you. So, today, my first question will goes to Dr. Helen. Dr. Helen, from your experience, what are the key steps we need to take to integrate Runga with Western medicine in a way that respects and enhances both?
I think it's a very large question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's quite a large topic actually, but I'm going to start by thinking about establishing strong relationships between Māori and the Crown, and to have Māori well-being, Māori health practices, the tohunga practitioners recognised both in terms of resources and funding. Be great to see. I was really pleased to hear the forensic mental health services talking, as well as doctor around Runga Māori. And I can see that it's already happening. And this isn't a plug for you, Brian, but it would be useful to see that type of service grow in New Zealand. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Dr. Helen. Kia ora. Thank you so much for your insight. Now, just following up with these questions to Dame Nida Gladys. Dame Nida, how can we ensure that these practices are not only integrated, but also protected and valued within the health system?
Well, I'm probably going to get the sack for saying this, but given the country at the moment is being run by 3 blind mice, relationships are actually what are important. Relationships, and we have to take responsibility for our own relationships, because we cannot rely presently on this government to do that for us. So I would encourage all that we are doing now to continue doing it, because we can.
Kia ora. Thank you so much, Dame Nida Gladys. And following this, now we want to ask one practical application and research related question to Professor Tong. Professor Tong, based on your work in China, what practical strategies can be applied here in New Zealand to integrate traditional and Western medicine effectively?
Just a second. You means how I can introduce the method, experience, and consideration to the practice of New Zealand in traditional medicine field.
Yes.
You mean?
Practical strategy.
Maybe. Okay. And first I consider the New Zealand is very important in the research investigate how we research relation between traditional medicine and modern medicine. Because I just see the population map. I see the Maori people, a lot of Maori people living here, of course, and other Europe, Asia, and some countries all living in this country. So the culture in Malaysia, in New Zealand is very splendid and very, very glorious. And so, first. Second, I consider in China, we have a lot of experiences, especially in the development of the traditional medicine. So this, I consider this experience, some are very valuable, but of course, some is maybe it's not very valuable. So I consider maybe we should introduce some valuable experiences in research traditional integrated traditional medicine or modern medicine with modern medicine or develop traditional medicine. First, I consider we should in thinking level or philosophy level, we should have a right idea or method to handle the traditional medicine. What's the traditional medicine? What's the structure of traditional medicine? And in general, I consider we investigate this method or this form this consideration or form this thoughts, maybe like several hundred years. So I consider maybe now just in nearly 60 years, we become more and more clear about traditional medicine. How it's unnecessary. We look traditional medicine have too high position. We also should avoid to consider traditional medicine is unscientific, is rubbish. Too arbitrary extreme is not the good way. So first is we should consider recognize or realize traditional medicine in the philosophy level should have a right philosophic ideas. And just as me, first we should divide into medicine knowledge. All of humans divided into two. One is modern medicine. One is second traditional medicine. Traditional medicine also medicine. And so secondly, I consider just I say traditional medicine. You can realize traditional medicine and the structure constructed, maybe including five elements. The medical experience, the basic or rough basic medical knowledge, and ancient philosophy and local culture. For example, Maori culture may be a deep influence deeply in to the modern traditional medicine. Second, we also consider religion or belief. Belief is a very important is an element of for traditional medicine. In some way, if the formula or the herbs, in fact, no obvious or evidence is effective against some diseases, but the belief and placebo and some factor, maybe the patient consider this herb or this formula or this knowledge or this medicine is very effective. So, and second, because I consider the methodology level and philosophy level is very, very important for we handle traditional medicine. And in practice level, I consider maybe we should. I don't know if in the New Zealand there are more traditional medicine college. Maybe no.
Do you have even work medicine college? You are asking. Work college for modern medicine college. Yes.
Because the time is limited, I just say several words. You see as a ancient medical system, respect is very important. One's practice or experience. Second is theory level, or for example, you should have we should write several modern medicine books, which the modern medicine theory you can elucidate it very, very clearly. Then also we should confer which molecular medical knowledge or more medical experience is very, very effective. For example, use Kawakawa. You say Kawakawa is very, very useful or can treat a lot of diseases. But you should design a research program. For example, we design RCT, randomized controlled match. Then we design a RCT. After RCT, the result will show if the Kawakawa is more effective to treat some diseases even better than modern medicine. After you get these evidences, then you can research why the Kawakawa can treat this kind of diseases. Then you research the substances, which molecules we can extract them or isolate them from Kawakawa. Then we research the mechanism why the molecules extracted or isolated from Kawakawa came against asthmatic attack. The animal mechanism, the human mechanism, the cellular mechanism, even the gene level mechanism. And so on. I see too. Thank you.
You can do it. Right. Certainly, Professor Tong, and thank you so much for putting your insights. And we need to understand traditional medicine, and more. You have highlighted also we need more research on traditional medicine as well. Kia ora. And I've visited in China more than 4 years. I know how important it is when it comes to traditional medicine in China. Kia ora. Thank you. Sesini. Now, my question goes to Tracy Lindsay. Tracy, what role does acupuncture play in this integration?
and what barriers need to be overcome to ensure its wider acceptance?
Thank you. That's a big question. Look, I think there's many areas for integration. I highlighted some in my talk because they have some pretty strong evidence behind it. And one thing that we, as acupuncturists and traditional Chinese herbalists as well, come across a lot is this idea that there isn't evidence, and particularly for acupuncture, that it's placebo. And that probably rings a bell with some of the other traditional medicine practitioners that are here. There's a big push within acupuncture research to push beyond that notion about placebo. It's there. There's a placebo effect for every type of healthcare treatment that you're going to provide. There's some placebo effect. So we have to move beyond that. And that has been a barrier to integration, I think. And I feel like when we're practitioners also probably come across this constant need to justify what you do and justify the results, and that's definitely a barrier. I'm very much for research, and that has its place, but I think we need to move beyond that idea that there isn't an evidence base for acupuncture for many conditions. So that's one barrier. Another barrier is funding. The same as the forensic team we're talking about there. It's difficult. Most of our clients are coming privately. We have funding through ACC for musculoskeletal, claims for accidents and injury, and there are some health insurers that will fund some acupuncture treatments, but that's it for the most part. So it's difficult to offer it, and this is a problem because it means there are a lot of people who can't access our treatments. It's so if we look at the equity lens, it becomes only for those that can afford to come to treatment. And that's not what we want to be doing with our medicine. We want to be able to offer our treatments more widely. So funding, that's probably, everyone hears this all the time, right? That's an issue for all healthcare, science, everywhere funding is an issue. So that's one of the other barriers. And I think also just, and we see this overseas. We see this happening overseas, where we just need one. You need just a little pilot scheme to get going, right? We need one chance to try, as happened in the Hutt Valley Hospital and their maternity outpatients unit, that happened in, the prison system with acupuncture treating inmates. We just need that opening, and then you can run a pilot scheme and see what the results are, and then from there it can build, because then you have some evidence, and which everyone likes, to then prove that the funding is justified. So we just need a chance. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Oh, yes.
Just to compliment what Tracy's really been saying.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I just want to sort of compliment what Tracy's been saying, but I think it complements the whole conversation really, which is, at the end of the day, what knowledge is valued and what is actually evidence. Because we can look at evidence from a Western lens, but what does it look like from an Indigenous lens? What does it look like from a traditional medicine lens? Is it journal articles? Well, no, it's not only journal articles. It's ancient history held by elders, and that is real. And so until we understand to see things through that lens, that evidence looks like lots of different things depending on the context and where you come from, then we're still going to be stuck in this world. Yeah.
Kia ora. Kia ora, thank you, Emma. And Thank you so much, Nami, our Tracy Lindsay, and thank you for Korero. Yes, together with other things, funding and accessibility for our communities is really key challenges here. I'm saying that we'll have time for only one question, please.
Why? Tēru katoa tuakau ki te mihi o te kia koutou hunga mai nei I tēnei rāna reira kia ora tātou. It's my privilege to also chair a global working group on public health. And most importantly, I played for the 1969 to Waimea out of a fifth grade rugby team in the Whanganui River. So there we go. And a life member of the Diamond Harbour Rugby Club in Canterbury. There we go. The fourth best rugby team in New Zealand. Look, I just want to and I'm not a bearer of the elephant in the room, but I want to acknowledge a couple of things. One thing that I really recognise is the breakthrough moment that Rongo and Māori got in the last 2 decades of giving recognition, the things that the whare alluded to, on the kaipara, things that our people have known a long time. And I love listening to you, Professor Don, because you're acknowledging 5-6 millennia of traditional stuff that we know. And I loved you putting up the other pharmacological names that are known, in the Occidental world outside of the Orient that you've known for many millennia. So the other thing in the room is, I guess one of those challenges is there are a number of things that may restrict the advancement of the recognition, not just of the stuff that Tracy's dealing with, but a xenophobic position by many other countries relative to the traditions that you alluded to that exist significantly from China, right? And so there's this thing. And it's also, and so for us, there was no recognition until more recent times. The elephant in the room is part of the stuff is possibly around the kickback from Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and the other stakeholders, because once you open up that opportunity, the things that we know that you know, it starts to address a number of issues around all the big pharma companies of all the traditional stuff you do, which presses the real button around a xenophobic reference to the people in China. And the other elephant is the nature of the political nature of the People's Republic of China. And I'm only saying this is not my political statement, but I also, for those who don't know, of the 500 million people recognised, not just by the United Nations as being indigenous, 125 million of them live in the People's Republic of China. 105 million live in India. 1 in 6 people in this planet live in China right now. 1 in 6 live in India. And that's where 1/3 of the indigenous folk and therefore traditions come from. So there are a number of, and just acknowledging the incredible challenges that present bringing your wealth of knowledge into the West. And so things known by our fire that we understand. And ironically, when the forensic team up here, I was going through all the various antipsychotic drugs and thinking how many traditional medicines that you recognise today, Professor, that they would be using in terms of the next process in there. So it's kind of a statement and an acknowledgement saying, I understand the challenges, we understand the challenges, and so that's also part of, all that. So I don't know whether there was a question or a comment. I'm just acknowledging I like elephants and I like rooms.
Yeah, then thank you. Thank you so much, all the panelists. I mean, it was really great. Though we have a time limitation, we really had a good career here, good discussions. So thank you so much, Nami. And I want Professor Tong and them neither to stay here. And sorry, I'll come to you. Thank you. Thank you. Especially to Professor Tong. Thank you so much, Cecily.
On behalf of everyone in the room, we would like to present this to you and I guess to say we already have a trust factor. Now we will grow it.
So finally, to wrap up today's insightful discussions workshop, now I'd like to welcome Dr. Helen and Dr. Lifeng Cho to provide final reflection and close our event. Kia ora.
I think one of the things I want to recognise is that Tonga Māori has always existed. Since the signing of the Tonga Suppression Act, it's gone underground. But we all know as Māori who our ronga practitioners are and who to go to, and we need to. What is exciting is seeing it start to emerge as a legitimate health form in the health sector. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's presented today. All your wisdoms will be thought about and integrated as we move forward. Kia ora.
Thanks, Helen. I think it's a wonderful meeting with you guys, and particularly we help people from other places or from other countries, like Professor Dong. So we acknowledge all your great efforts to make this a great event. So I think from my perspective, I'd like to acknowledge all the colleagues, particularly the leadership under Dale and also Hector. So for us, it's about the international collaboration can be a bridge to link things together so that we can learn from each other, right? In those areas like talent exchange, like seeding grant research projects, all those kind of things. So that's our door. On the other hand, we also have kind of focus for Asian and ethnic communities. We have a lot of things to do for our Asian and Maori Pacific as well, in terms of say data gaps, but also how we can help language and culturally appropriate services. And we have a lot of gaps over there. So we need to work together. So I really like to thank you guys and contribute to this wonderful meeting. And I learned a lot actually, and I still need time to digest what you have been sharing with us all. So thank you. I think I also want to take the opportunity to indicate that we do have another important session that's in the afternoon between 4:45 and 6 about digital health and AI for Asian and ethnic communities. So thank you. I'm looking forward to meeting with you in the afternoon as well.
I just want to say thank you to you, Professor Dong, for coming again, and you and Maggie, who spent years putting this together. So,
I think it's really about collaboration. The topic is about collaboration. It's about how we can actually move forward. Beyond just academic changes, what we can do, for Gonga Māori, what we can do for TCM, that's something we need to think about carefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I think we can have some good photos. Brilliant. Yeah.
I'm just going to close it. Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to finish.
That's the leadership.
And also maybe the best in power was
Kia ora mai nau tātou anō. Te papai hoki tēnei te tū te hakarongo kōrero. Ngā kōrero katoa I tuku mai ana. Mai tēnā. O tō tātou. Ungai te rāne nā rūra. Ko tātou āpo muti mai o tō tātou kaupako tēnei rā. Whenau me tukināpe ngā kraki a whakamuti ngā kia tātou. You want to sing a hymn about me? Oh, you pay a hand to it? You sing that, right? I know Onde hier unlushi. Onde hier tu du ta bunuri. Te wa te ke ma hobi. Te chinana ite mako ite wai go hoki. Ate ite ara tamata. Koinara e tane, whakaihia te kirunga kia tina. Ara mai te toki e honi e hui e ke mai na tata. Kia ora. Kungi e tēna me ka kia tāpu ua tata kai ne, ia nei te trana o te ine. Mai nera, e hoa whakapai neo o māta kai. Te ora nā moa māta tinana, pāngai hoki o māta wai te titaro te ora. And
also we have a photo here. Please do not leave the room before the photo, please. Thank you. Who's taking food? Okay, so here. This is here. The figure is real. What will yes to use of everyone? Excuse me.
So Cathedral.
What you can do, generate
Genesis 2, smile. Okay, what's the, yeah?